The Mercury Retrograde that we're currently in had me go back over my old posts for this video, and because I was meditating and saying, okay, so what's this post going to be about? What do I need to talk about today? And the message came through very clearly: look back through your old posts. And the one that stuck out was from 2020. I may have posted it before that and reposted it, but it was 2020 that I found, and it says, I am the author of my own life, and I get to choose how my story unfolds. And as I said, it jumped out at me, and it's very apt for where we are. It's very apt with this Mercury retrograde. It's very apt with the Lionsgate energies as the portal starts to close, and the energies that came through with that. It's very apt for where we are in humanity, and it's very apt for those that resonate with the phrase the chosen ones. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi and welcome to Oaklaw Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio, and for those that are returning subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so as I said, we are the authors of our own story, and these are the energies that we are stepping into, and the energies and why we have been working so hard to get ourselves in alignment, to get ourselves on our North Node path, to release dysfunctional beliefs and values that very often weren't ours to begin with. We inherited them. Why we have been cleaning up and breaking those karmic cycles of our own soul doing. And some of us have been cleaning up and clearing ancestral cycles. And it's not been an easy journey. There have been many, many energies that have not wanted us to achieve it. There have been many, many energies that don't even want us to start it, and it will depend on where you are on the cycle of time as to what you're currently experiencing. Now, in the little preview I did mention the chosen ones, and I kind of say that guarded a little bit, because it's not an elitist title. I am a chosen one. It's not about that. We're all equal, and every aspect, every tiny little or grand piece of healing that we do is needed, is necessary, is part of the collective cosmic net for all of us. And so I want to step away from the grandeur titles. I say the chosen ones because a lot of people understand the phrase, a lot of people identify with the phrase. What I ask is, if you do identify, what I ask, I'm not asking it, what my guides were asking, when we were kind of in conversation together about this video, was to use it to identify, the same as you use empath to identify yourself, the same as you use narcissist to identify a psychological type. But be mindful that you don't step into ego. Be mindful that you do remain grounded, and that you do the inner introspection to find out what that means for you. I know when I have meditated on this title and the information that I have downloaded for myself personally, it has been about my soul being part of the 12 founding tribes. Now, again, I don't want you to get me, and tunnel visioned into the whole religious context of that, because it will be different for all of us. And you have to remember that what is written in religious scriptures, albeit immensely helpful to us, there is no denying that. The scriptures we can gain so much from, but let's remember that man wrote them, and they were written in a time where information, understanding, deeper knowledge in some aspects were lacking. In other aspects, they were flying much higher than we currently are. But let's just keep that perspective. Let's keep grounded. Let's not tie ourselves into a paradigm of man-made. And that is why my guides, if you identify with that title, my guides are saying, please take the time to meditate, to channel, to communicate with your ancestors to find out what that means for you. Now, I talked about the 12 founding tribes, but those 12 founding tribes came from somewhere, and that information is coming forward as well, if it hasn't already, if you've not already connected past those 12 founding tribes. The piece of information that came forward was to keep that to yourselves for the moment. It's not yet time. You're understanding the knowledge that you're being given, and I have put this out in a post before actually, and now it's tying in, it's gaining momentum, it's becoming more profound, because I have said, and my guides did say to me some videos back, I can't remember which, but they were saying, when the information comes through, keep it to yourself until you can fly with it. And the analogy that they gave me then was a butterfly having come out of its pod, and it needs that time for its wings to dry before it can fly. And so when it comes out of that pod, keep stum, keep quiet. Don't allow that information out, because we do still have a lot of energies out there that are wanting to block us and stop us. And I don't say that, I don't want anybody in fear, but we need to have that reality check that we are in this energetic war. And so it's very important that we don't play all our cards. That said, the energies are with us, and it was interesting because the numerology, because the other thing that I seen when I seen that post and when I was meditating on this was the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords is always about having to make a choice, and the phrase that came in the other card that I seen was the storm warning, and it does feel quite turbulent out there. If we just look at society at the moment, it feels very turbulent. And again, I've talked about this, but this is more of a personal level. This is more of a personal inner journey that we are being asked to undertake with this Mercury retrograde and these energies from the Lion Gate, is to make a decision of where we are taking ourselves. And that leads us back to the post that I was given. We are the authors of our own story. We're turning that page, we're starting a new chapter. And what do we want that new chapter to look like? It's that manifestation of the 8-8 portal. What are we wanting to co-create with God, with the universe, with the divine, with Allah, whatever you subscribe to, but what are we co-creating? What do we want for ourselves? What do we want to put out into the world that is, yeah, it's for ourselves, but it's also of service. It's for ourselves because it's our passion, it's our drive, it's what we're good at, it's what we excel at, it's what naturally comes to us because it's a gift of understanding our soul knowledge. And how can we put that to service to help humanity? We get to make that decision. We get to make the decision of how we're going to create that. And that Two of Swords is, there are going to be energies of your past, whatever your past looks like. And I can guarantee that if you identify as one of the chosen ones, your past has been arduous. Your past has had you face down in the dirt with a foot on your neck, and you've still got up. You have refused to be taken off of your path. You have refused to give in to gossip, to lies, to manipulations. You have refused to be controlled. And within all of those aspects, you would have been through some very torturous, is that the right word? Torturous, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, experiences, because you will not give up, because you will not deviate from your true calling. And much of that hardship has gone unheard, unnoticed, unseen, or it has been seen and people have intentionally turned away because of their beliefs, because of their wounds, because of their hurts, because of whatever's going on in their lives. And that's probably, especially when it's dearest and dearest, that's probably the hardest to take. But we take it. And we do so because this is bigger than us. This is bigger than what we're feeling in this current moment. And let's keep a perspective on that, because whatever we're feeling in this current moment is just a moment. It's a moment within a massive cosmic expanse of time. And so we take it. And we continue and stay in that love vibration. A lot of these things are to take us to drop our vibrations. And we refuse to do that. It's not that we're being a pushover. It's not that we're being a doormat. It's not that it doesn't hurt and that we're such an iceberg that it doesn't touch us. It's none of that. We feel every single thing of it, but we refuse to drop our vibrations because of it. Because this is bigger than us. It's bigger than the me body, the me vessel. It's much bigger. And so energies will, in the next week, next 2 weeks, next month or so, depending on where you are astrologically, will be coming back onto your radar to create a storm. I can't tell you what to do in that storm. What I am being guided to say is go inward, connect with divine, connect with your ancestors, be guided by them. There is no right or wrong. It's what's right for you. And I've said it ever since I've started 10, 12 years ago. I think it's more like 12 now. But ever since I've started, it's, if it feels like it's right. So take a temperature check on your physical body. Is it feeling light or is it feeling heavy? And if it's feeling heavy, is that your heaviness or is that a projection? That's the first thing. If it's a projection, then clean up your energies. Clean up your energies. Whether that be through prayer, whether that be through meditation, whether that be through smudging, whether that be through all of them. Clean up your energies until it's just your energies. Cut those cords of people who are draining you. Cut those cords of people projecting. Block them. Stop them. And then check into your energies. How do you feel? Is this decision or this pending decision making you feel light and thus it's right? Or is it making you feel heavy? And if it's making you feel heavy, what's wrong? Is there just an adjustment, or do you just not make that decision? You go in another direction. I can't say what's going to be right for you. Only you can say that. There is a lot going on. I felt inclined to pick up my Bible as well. I felt inclined to... I was bought this by my parents when I registered as a nurse. And at the time I thought, well, that's a very strange thing to give me, because I wasn't practicing any type of religion then. There have been times in my life that I have referred to it, but more and more I am referring to it now. And I'm not saying it's gospel. I'm not saying it's absolutely correct in its interpretations, but there are times when I do take solace for it. And it was interesting because I just opened it randomly. You can see a bit of paper hanging up because I was meditating, and I kind of infused it with my energy, and I said, right, okay, divine, what do we need to hear? What goes with this video? And it opened up at Ecclesiastes chapter 5. And what was interesting for me, and I don't know whether you can actually see that, is it's almost I kind of like was wow, because it's almost like a play on the videos that I've actually done, because up in the top corner you can probably see there, it actually says, she says, I can't read it, a season for all things. And then in the other side of it, it says vanity through envy. And the part that I was actually guided to says against abuse. And if you are someone who identifies as one of the chosen ones, you will have felt that abuse. But it also says in divine service at the top. And those were the first things that kind of really captured me. And then, as I said, my eyes fell to chapter 5, and it says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. And it is that stepping away from judgment, that stepping away from the pain that has been inflicted, that abuse that has been inflicted upon us, stepping away from the hurt from that, understanding that hurt people, and stepping into that forgiveness. For they consider not that they do evil. They don't realize there's a lack of introspection, a lack of understanding, and a lack of, it's that understanding. If people don't know themselves, which is why soul sovereignty is so dear to my heart, if people really don't understand themselves, how are they able to understand another? And in that not understanding another, how can they make valid judgments? Which is what we all do. I don't like judgment. I don't like to make judgments, but that is how we kind of walk through life, unfortunately, because we live in those polarities, and we do call judgment on different aspects and different situations within our lives, just so that we can navigate through life. But it's about applying that forgiveness, stepping away from that pain, rather than kind of meeting fire with fire. We meet fire with water, and what happens to fire when you put water on it? Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. And for me, and if there's scholars of religion out there, they'll probably say something very different, and that's absolutely fine. But for me, what I take from that is be careful with our words. Be careful with the things we say and the things we think, because remember, thoughts become things. Yes, there has been a lot that has gone on, and from what I was shown from my visions, there's a lot more that's going to come. But it feels like with that storm warning and that Two of Swords, it feels like it's coming to a crescendo. Is that the right word? Crescendo. Have I said that properly? It's coming. It feels like the divine is forcing the ending. The ending has already occurred. This is the big theme that's been coming through. There is something that you've ended. The cycle was closed, but there are outside energies that are still clinging on to it, still holding on, still wanting to open, still putting their foot in the door. And it was interesting with that verse, because it does talk about, the foot into the house of God. Now, in no way, shape or form am I inferring that any of us are the house of God, but we are vessels of divine energy. And if something that is vibrating less than pure love is trying to put their foot in the door, then they are trying to taint the house of God. They are trying to taint those divine energies. This week, next week, the following week, as I said, depending on your astrology, there is going to be a storm. Now, whether that manifests physically, I know for some it already has. It's like the energies came in, the judgment was called, and not judgment by us, but judgment by the divine was called. And it's physically shown up in massive storms. Those that are trying to infiltrate and hang on to your energies as you ascend, they're going to come back at some point during this Mercury retrograde, and they are going to try every trick available to them to taint your energies, lower your vibration, and confuse the merry out of you. This video is to say, don't allow it. Take the time each and every day to connect to the divine, to connect to your ancestors, to make sure that you are grounded, to make sure that all your chakras are aligned. Eat healthily, drink plenty of water. Clean your energetic fields daily. And when there are projections of confusion, when there are projections of nostalgia, when there are projections of whatever they decide to use to get you here and out of here, check in with yourself. It may be that the Mercury retrograde and your team are wanting you to be introspective of a past situation, which is why you've had that nostalgic energy come towards you. But before you allow yourself to go there, before you allow yourself to get sucked into the introspection, and sometimes it could be a dark night of the soul, make sure it's a dark night of the soul that you're supposed to be doing, and you're not unwittingly, unknowingly carrying the burden of somebody else because they don't want to face themselves. They don't want to face those aspects, those dark energies. Make sure they're not offloading that ish into your energetic field. And with that Two of Swords showing up, if you identify that somebody has done that to you, you use your free will as to what you do about that. But also be aware in the choice that you make, all choices have consequences. It really feels like a time of, okay, you've been doing the self-love, you've been doing the self-worth, you've been doing the self-value. But are you going to absorb and sort out somebody else's ish just because you love them? I would actually say here that is an overextension of your energies. That is still highlighting a lack of reciprocity, because if they loved you the way that you love them, then they wouldn't have brought that to your door in the first place. And maybe you doing the work for them isn't helping them. And it isn't helping you. You've done the work. You've faced your inner demons. You may still be facing them. And how has it helped you? This is what we need to remember. Yeah, is it hard? Is it dark? Is it, does it bring you down for a while? Does it, does it make you feel sick? There are all sorts of things that go with it, depending on what you need to face. But we've done it, and we've come out a better person the other side of it. That's what you would be taking away from them if you use your free will to do it for them. Whew. Wow, thank you, Divine. Okay. I hope you take something from that. If you've liked the video, press that like button. If you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe. And I shall see you on the next one. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.